It is said, the past can explain a lot about the present, but it can't take responsibility for it. Only I can do that. And like in sociology, psychology circles, right? There's discussions, debates around nature and nurture. So a perspective is, nurture means my parents did it to me. Nature means my grandparents did it to me. Okay, okay. So we're certainly not denying the influences. We're not denying the influences of nature and nurture by studying my past and the DNA and my genealogy and who my parents were and how I was raised and what the economic conditions and what schools I went to. That helps me understand a lot about myself. And none of that takes responsibility for how I'm showing up today here on Saturday, January 29th, 2022. How I'm showing up to you, how I'm showing up today, I stand 100% responsible for that. Whether I'm showing up with clarity, with maliciousness, with care, with compassion. The past can explain a lot about the present, but it doesn't take responsibility for it. That's where we come from in the Satvatove approach to transformation. Satvatove approach to transformation. I mentioned that actually yes, since the late 70s, I've been involved in the human potential movement. Since the early 80s, I'm involved in counselor training and conducting communication-based transformational seminars. And so over more than 40 years, I've seen a lot of courses, seminars, approaches to coaching, counseling, therapy. And generally, and this is oversimplifying, but just to get an idea, generally I've seen two basic approaches, two basic philosophies. One, and I said my view is, whereas our focus is experience, not dry, abstract academics. At the same time, a philosophical ground for our transformational experience is vital. And that's why I go to philosophy. I've seen two basic approaches. One, I'll call it the blank slate approach, where the idea is that at the core, the essence of ourselves is nothing. And on the basis of that nothing, we can invent any possibility that we choose. So that's not where we come from in the Satvatove approach to transformation. We come from what we've already described, the diamond approach. And as far as the blank slate approach, I've been in seminar rooms with dozens and hundreds of people celebrating, chanting, "We are nothing, we are nothing." I've seen it, I've been there. Okay, so that's not where we come from in Satvatove. Where we come from, I'll call it metaphorically the diamond approach, that at the core, we're not nothing. At the core, metaphorically, we're like a diamond. We're like a diamond. And the diamond, that's that irreducible quanta of consciousness. That is the owner of the finger, the driver of the car. And just like a diamond is always strong. It's always effulgent, it's always radiant and shining and brilliant. And a diamond can get covered. It can get covered by dust or dirt or thick mud. So we've allowed the diamond that we are to get covered. Not like it just happened, but we've allowed that. And then we take a look at that in our Satvatove programs. How come we've allowed that like that? And so the process of transformation is essentially an uncovering process, uncovering what's naturally the natural shining, effulgent, radiant capacity. People don't care what you know till they know that you care. And so generally speaking, because oftentimes, maybe sometimes we do have what might be good advice for someone. Oftentimes I assume that I do, but the advice is mostly about my world, David world. It's not so much coming from listening deeply to what's happening in their world. And even if you do have good advice for me, like how I can be a better person or solve a problem in my life, even maybe you do, often it's going to be more powerful rather than giving me the advice if you use your skills and you use your transformational communication principles to support me to connect with my own realizations. Then I'm more likely to own it, commit to it, and take it into my life and make it work compared to if you gave it to me. So that's another principle. And often I think it's good advice, but it's often like not so much trusting the person as the expert in their life. Understanding can be like life air. Can be like life air. Just like if someone gets the wind knocked out of them, we could offer them a pile of money. It won't matter. They just want to gasp a breath. We could offer them their favorite meal. We could offer them praise. It won't matter. I just want air. So similarly, especially in emotionally charged situations around bitterness, resentment, self-hatred, shame, fear, anxiety, intimidation, feeling wounded, sadness, grief, especially in emotionally charged situations, often. All we want is to be understood. All we want. And understood, that doesn't mean agreed with. I might understand someone's feelings of embarrassment and humiliation because they perceive someone has treated them badly. I might have a different view of the situation. People don't care what you know till they know that you care. So we show caring by showing understanding. And sometimes when all we want is to be understood in emotionally charged situations around hurt, pain, sadness, fear, anger, then at that time, even if it's apparently astute advice or praise or a clever argument, it's not going to touch the heart. Oftentimes, all we want is to be understood. Who am I? What am I avoiding? Where am I hiding behind judgments? What's the distinction between the body and the self? What am I pretending not to know? What am I avoiding? Where am I selling myself short? Where am I cheating? What is the purpose of my life? We get to ask so many questions that are distinctive. An example I give in the book, a metaphor I give in the book, it's like, let's say if I get I pay a lot of money for a big desktop computer, and you come to my home and you see that I'm using the computer as a doorstop. I'm using the computer as a doorstop. So you say, well, David Wolf, what are you doing there? What's happening there? I say, what do you mean what's happening? It's really intelligent, because if the door wants to close, it can't, because the computer's in the way. So you can oh, I see why you have a PhD. Yeah, I get that. So then you might explain to me out of compassion, well, yeah, David, you can use that computer as a doorstop, yeah. But you know, that machine can be used for much higher level functions. You can use that machine to conduct self-discovery seminars with people around the planet. You can use it to do desktop publishing. You can use it to research about history and physics. I mean, you can use it for much higher level functions. So the metaphor there is, to the extent that we're living our life only around the questions related to eating, sleeping, mating, defending, questions that are, common to other species, then it's kind of like, yeah, we can do that, but it's like using the computer as a doorstop. We got like much greater capacity so much appreciating how you're dedicating yourselves to create this safe and sacred space where all expression, all emotions are acceptable. When I've used that, when I say all emotions are acceptable, I'm not saying all actions are acceptable. Like, let's say if I have an emotion, I want to kill him, I just want to murder him. So then it's important that that's acceptable, that I have some area in myself, in my life, to communicate murderous rage. Am I saying, yes, so you feel it, go out and murder the guy? No. Some actions need to be constrained. Some actions need to be limited, restrained, and off limits. I'm not saying all actions are acceptable, but actually when various emotions are not acceptable, then that's when that murderous rage can become less than conscious, senseless violence, because Carl Jung said, till we make the unconscious conscious, it'll direct our life and we'll call it fate.